Welcome to my laboratory. I'm Frank, and today I want to explain to you how to use the sound mixer which you have in your studio. It's been a problem for some of the schools because it's pretty sophisticated, it has too many buttons, and it does a lot more than you really need. So I want to simplify it because I don't want you to panic that something isn't working. And in most cases, quite honestly, a lot of the complaints I got are somebody pushed a button and they didn't hear anything. So I want to simplify it and show you how to use it. So let's take a look here. This is the overall switcher mixer here. This is a little one that I'm using now to record what I'm doing. But here's what I want to go over with you and show you how this works. So let's take a look here in the back first. Let's show you this. So here is the back, and here's the power button, right? So this particular one, I'm going to turn it on. This particular unit has one power button. There are some that have more than one power switches because it turns on what's called phantom power. Now this particular one has phantom power here. There's a button that says 48V. So I'm going to turn that on, and you see the little red light goes on. So that's important. That needs to be on because the microphones that we use are what's called phantom power. They're plugged in here. Now, over here, for instance, this microphone is phantom powered, and it's plugged in here. And you can see down here, I've got 48 volts phantom power on. So you can hear me now because that's on. If that were off, and you'll see what will happen. Okay, looks like the sound faded away. So now I got to use my handheld microphone. So let's switch over here again. 3. So now I'm using my handheld microphone so you can hear me because this doesn't require phantom power over 48 volt. So I'm going to try that again now. I'm going to turn on my other microphone, this one that I use, which is similar to the ones you have in the studio and at your school. So I'm going to turn this one off. Turn the phantom power back on. Now you're hearing me in this microphone. Okay, so that's important, phantom power. I'm going to turn that off now. I'm not going to use that one for now. So, phantom power. Okay, let's go back to our illustration here. So that's important. Now here's what we have. This is called a channel. This whole row here is called a channel. And if you can see up here, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It means this will take 2 microphones. So all together it has what they call 12 channels. We, in most cases, use 2, 1 and 2. However, there are some schools that use more than that, so this is capable of that. And you can see also that there's different connections. For instance, look at this one. This is called a tip ring sleeve plug-in connector. And you can see these other inputs right here. So that would go in there and plug in. Some of you have those, not that many, but this is pretty much XLR, which is a 3-pin XLR, which is like the little microphones that we give you, and that plugs in there. Okay, all right, I'll plug it for now. So the channel, let's go back to the channel. First thing you come across here, well, the first thing you come across here is this called a high Z on and off. What that means is if it's plugged in here, that's a high input plug, and you can turn that on and off. You can also, with this input here, is you can use this plug. If you see the shape is different than this one and this one, because this one will plug in. If you use that, then you will need to push the high Z and have it on. But we don't really use those. What we use is the XLR, like I just showed you, and that goes in there too. So it has dual purpose. So that's usually going to be up and not on. Now over here you have low cut. This is actually a good tool because in a lot of your studios you have sound, rumbling, air conditioners are on, air handling units. and it has a low rumble, like a low frequency rumble. You can turn that off, and that'll cut some of that low end off, and it'll sound better. So if you got that rumbling in your studio, I recommend you use that. Now, this one right here is really important. It's called the gain level. So depending on the type of mic you have, we're going to adjust the gain. Most cases, it's going to start somewhere around 12 o'clock. Okay, this one you don't need to worry about this one, but this is the one for gain. This is kind of like the first volume control of the microphone, because it shows the sensitivity. So if you look over here, here's the mic I'm using, right? There's the gain here, and the sensitivity gives it its sound quality and volume level. So here is the first one you go to. So you're going to start out at noon. Now this particular mic, I had to go a little bit further, so depending on the mic you have, you'll adjust that, as needed. Okay, so we're not using this one. This is EQ. What this basically is, it's bass, mid-range, and high. What this means is you can adjust these to the particular voice of the person talking to the microphone. But guess what? Forget it. 12 o'clock. Because everybody has a different setup. So unless you're doing recording a record or a song, you don't need to worry about that either. 12 o'clock. Here we don't use, this is at 0 down here. This we don't use special effects. FX means special effects. Again, this particular unit is more than what you need. And if you look over here, it says effects engine. So there's all these different types of effects you can have. Bright room, warm hall, cathedral, echo, and really, we don't really use these. Unfortunately, this particular model comes with all its extra stuff. Maybe in some advanced class, you may decide to use some of that, but for now, we're not using it, right? So just leave it off. So we're not going to use that either. Now the pan. Pan basically, and I know you know what the word pan means, is panorama, right? Panorama. Pan left, pan right. Again, 12 o'clock, right? So if you look at all these things here, you're all going to start at 12 o'clock. The only thing you're really going to adjust later is the gain here, depending on the loudness of the microphone. Okay, now let's go down here. This button is pretty self-explanatory. It's a mute button. What that means, if you don't want to hear that microphone, you hit the mute button. So for instance, if you have this up at a level that you like and it's going out in the proper level, well, rather than going up and down, like, okay, well, anchor one's talking now, let's put it up, okay, now anchor two's. Instead of doing that, it's just much simpler to have it at the level that is working for you, and then just mute the mic when you're ready and turn it back on again. Now here, this particular model, again, sorry to say, has too many buttons, but it has them. This is 1, 2, left, right, and pre-listening. Okay, the only one button that we need here is left, right. Because the left, right, if you look over here, on the main output, there's a button here that says left, right. That's where anything you got here on left, right goes here. We don't need to go to a sub, we don't need to go to special effects. So, again, it does more than what's really required of you guys. So all you need to worry about is left, right. Make sure they're on, okay? They're very important. That won't work if it's not on. So we're going to go over here, and then here's our main. Left, right, main. This is what's going to send it out to your mixer. Okay, so that's pretty much it for microphones, but there's another input here you'll probably use, and that is if you have a computer hooked up to the mixer for sound, videos, whatever, music, it's going to plug in up here. And you're going to have a cable similar to this one. It's going to look like this. And let me switch over here, go back. So this cable is going to go probably in one of these where it plugs in, right? This end, which is a mini, 1/8 inch mini, is going to go to your computer. Like this one that I have here, it's right here. That's an input. It goes around, and to me, it's hooked up to my laptop right here. So it's usually headphone out, and now it goes into here. So if I want to play music or something from here, I have an input, and you will have an input. You would decide where it's going to go. Some schools like it next to there, so it's 1, 2, 3. Others like it on the end, but that's up to you. But that's the other input. Now, outputs from the mixer. This is kind of important too. Similar, very similar cable. And the outputs are up here. It says left and right, and the black is usually the left, and the red is usually the right. Now that cable, again, is going to go, now this cable is going to go over to the ATM. So let me pull that up. I want to show you what that looks like. So the cable is kind of hard to see it, but it goes in the back here, and it gets plugged into what's called mic 1. And I know it's kind of hard to see that, but this is called mic 1. And you notice that this red light is on. Very important, because the sound coming in, and here's something that I want to explain also, because the whole idea with mic 1 and mic 1, and you say, well, wait a minute, here's mic 1 over here. Why is it mic 1 over here? I've had schools say, well, we had mic 2, but it didn't work because over here we have mic 2, and I turned it on and nothing happened. Okay, confusion, right? Here's a simple explanation. Consider whatever you have on, mic 1, mic 2, computer, whatever you have on here, leaves the mixer, and the output of this, the compilation of everything you got turned on, goes to the ATM here into what's called mic 1. Now, I know it's confusing, but that's where it goes. So make sure, and it's very important, you won't hear anything if this is off. So if mic 1's not on this board, here we don't want camera 1, we don't want the cameras, we don't want 6, we don't want that one, or camera 8. The only thing we want on is mic 1. Here it is here, mic 1. You see the level here, and here's the that's the fader or the slider, if we ever call it. It's called a fader. Now we don't need mic 2 on because we're not using it. But look down here. See it says on, and you'll see the red. So that's what we're using. This is the master out. This is what goes to your recording. So if you were recording your show, it was going streaming live, or you were recording it, that needs to be on because that's your master out. And so that's important. So that's the setup there. So with all that working, the sound is going to go through. So you need to make sure you check power, is the 48 volt phantom power on, are your sliders up, is your mute off? I've been to schools where it's like, we couldn't hear anything. Well, the mute was on. Oh, I'm sorry, you had to come all the way out of here. Yeah, me too. So check that. This needs to be all the way up. That pretty much covers it for this. So any questions, email me. I can help you. I do provide a diagram with this when I drop it off at your school that shows what I just said, where the buttons are, what the adjustments are. So that'll help you. So I think that's it. I think it'll work. And hope I didn't confuse you. Then just one other thing, I do have another video on how sound gets to the ATM switch through the HDMI cable. In other words, if you have a computer hooked up to it and you don't want the sound to go from the computer to the mixer, it can go from the computer directly to the switch over here on the input. And I got a little video that shows how that works, so look it up. All right, have a good day, and if you have any trouble, email me. All right, take care.